And we're back.
Yes.
Happy episode. I'm going to call this episode 3. This is our 3rd time.
That's the Revenge of the Sith. And that's why Reggie is here.
Yes.
What is that?
He's the dark side.
The Revenge of the what?
Sith.
No idea.
I think, Reggie, does anybody have a Snickers?
I've done had it. Y'all are lucky. Y'all are absolutely lucky.
Yeah.
Because I was
Welcome
getting
back.
hungry.
And we're back. And RoofCon 2024, Orange County Convention Center, Orlando, Florida, the Sunshine State. Man, what is the weather down here? Because we came from north. Now, it is 80 degrees all week in Pennsylvania. Of course, by the time we get home next week, probably be cold again. But we got to come down here early. Vic and I, we brought the trailer and stuff down and got here early and have been able to not really enjoy the warm weather, but it's been nice when we have walked across the street from the hotel to the convention center.
You call that nice? I'm like sweating like a pig.
Yeah.
I start overheating about 55, 60 degrees.
Oh, really?
I get down here. This is Satan's armpit.
Well, your pig problems have nothing to do with weather.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you did fight. So you're putting them back on.
I guess
So those
like-
fit your head.
No, I didn't say that. Like it's squeezing the blood out of my head right now. But other than that, I'm making it. I'd do anything
This
for
is
time.
Yeah. Yes.
And Vic.
As I would too. So I guess my question, first question, if we were going to maybe be serious, but I don't think this is going to be a serious reply back from you guys. But where has this connection or relationship between you two? How, like, are you guys in the same town? Did you get to high school together? Like, because I've noticed lately, maybe it's been longer, but lately you guys been kind of like hanging out and doing stuff together and collaborating on things, or like, so how did this all come about, I guess, is my question.
I want to hear Reggie's version of this, and then I'll tell you my version of it.
Okay.
So I was at Deacon, and Mike was at GEF, and then I think we may have met at different place, but like we got really getting to know each other with Jim Johnson's fellowship group
Contractor
on-
fellowship. Yeah.
on Wednesdays, and then we just started. It's like feeding a dog a stray once, and they just keep showing up at your doorstop.
Yeah,
that's
this is
what's
what
happening.
I was looking for here.
This
Yeah.
dude, I can't beat him away with a stick. Anywhere I go, I gotta make time for him.
Okay.
But it's always good.
Yeah.
It's always
It's always good. And he invited me over to the house, so I got to meet
Yes.
his wife, Connie, who's a
Yes.
sweetheart,
Mhm.
and his dog, Shug.
little
And
sugar.
Shug, before he went off and killed him, what did you do? Just put him tied him in a cinder block and threw him into the lake, didn't
No,
you?
he found a new home.
He's the only person I've ever known to be able to give away a puppy. And it was a great dog. It was a great little puppy. The problem was we got out of a meeting, and I was at GAF, he was at Beacon, and we walked out, and little Shug was out on a walk with Connie, and she took him off the leash, and he came running and ran right by Reggie and jumped into my arms.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's given away.
Yeah, he's gone.
To you.
No, he wouldn't. He didn't tell
He
me.
would've took him.
I would have taken him, but he was so angry, like bitter,
Yeah, it's,
and
I don't
just-
honor disloyalty.
no.
Oh, I don't blame you. That's how we chose a puppy once. Whichever one ran up to us is
Yeah.
the one we were going to keep.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Don't overcomplicate life.
No.
So I did that once. He ran up to me, and I was like, "Oh, this is the one," and then he peed on me.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, mixed signals. I don't know if I should.
You never know whose love language is what. I mean, that could have been your love language. I
It
mean,
might have been.
That's exactly right.
isn't that called something? I don't know if it's fetish or something. Okay, so that makes sense. So this goes back a while,
Yeah.
right? Like what, 2010?
So
15?
yeah, it does. It was like so it was at RoofCon that I really got to meet you. That would have been 4 of them, right? So it would have been
Yeah.
RoofCon 2, I think, or RoofCon 3. But yeah, no, and I've really enjoyed being able to walk through the seasons of my life with Reggie,
Mhm.
and he's been a dear friend. You know, guys are different in the way that we friend,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you know, I can count a very good friend and talk to them 2 or 3 times a year, and generally that's where my closest friends are.
Of course.
And like, he's not entirely inaccurate. I mean, I probably call him 2 or 3 times a week, which is very unique, but he always takes my call, which is weird. And most people don't, they send me straight to voicemail. But you know, that season of life when that transition from GAF was very, very tough, and I couldn't have made it through it without
No doubt.
Reggie.
So, and to me, what we overlook, and you and I think I talked about this on the podcast, is how much strength comes to oneself when there is somebody else of importance that's contributing to you. And that's what Mike does to me too, is like, there is, we joke and have fun and kid and all that, but we have conversations that move both of us, like to a, more depth, more clarity, more control, in really important areas of life. Look, I hate to break the news to the world, but selling shingles and manufacturing them ain't the end of, like, that's not the be all to end all to be all. And point being, our transactional components of life are important, but friendships and depth of conversations still matters. And so as much as we joke and kid around, there's a ton of value that we share one with another that does one thing, and that's really, how do we move each other forward, not staying complacent. And that collaboration and of relationship has been really, really important to me over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that with me, because, like you said, we're men.
Yeah.
We don't usually talk about shit like this, right?
No.
But what's cool is the reciprocal relationship that you guys have developed or forged over the years. Sounds like a long time, or maybe not so long ago. But I think moving through life, right? And you said seasons, right?
Yeah.
We're in different seasons of our lives. Things happen, people come, people go, jobs come, all of that stuff happens. And I really think it's super important to have that person, right, that you can lean on. And it's not always a significant other. There's certain things you can share with them, but there's other things that you might have to, because I think for us, my Janet probably gets the shits of listening to me, like, just stop talking about it, get over it. Right. Kind of thing like that. And that conversation is a little bit different. Not that she hasn't been my rock over the years, but to have a dude, that is going through this situation with me. And Vic's been like that for me for a long time. I don't even know how long time. And, to the point, like our friendship, like he came to work with me. Like he shut his business down. I was like, dude, I'm going to just want to hang out with you all day, every day. Yeah. Like, this is fucking awesome. And that's just kind of how our relationship has been. Like, anything, I can share anything with Vic, anything. And he's gotten me through some things, and there's some situations that should have bothered me, but didn't bother me, but bothered him. Like, that's my boy.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Not saying that he would go fight my battles for him, but he probably would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, and interesting enough, when you make yourself open and vulnerable and give people a chance to be in your life and you and them, relationships like Eric pop up for me.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times people have come up to me and gone like, how are y'all? You don't seem to share a lot of the same, but there's something that happened with Eric and I that clicked. And like, it had really nothing to do with diversity of backgrounds and how we see life, because we see life differently in some ways. But when I came to town, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to see Eric and I was going to see Mike if I saw no one else. And so we had breakfast together this morning, and it was like we hadn't missed a beat. And I'm telling you, you are missing out an abundant side of life when you isolate yourself. And when you just can't be willing, man to man in this case, to open up and to share. The gains that come from that cannot be done alone. And so I'm grateful for Mike. I'm grateful for Eric, and the impact they've had on my life.
No doubt.
And then you take that another step, because we appreciate these relationships that we're forging here. And then we're saying, okay, now I'm part of a larger organization and a business as well. How do I help our company start interacting, even if it's a collision and it's going to hurt? And then once you do it, then you heal, and there's that whole process. So Reggie worked with our team, and we really value and are very specific and proactive about building our culture, really understanding what that means and how it's done. And especially when we're in a situation where we're growing so fast and we're adding numbers to it, how do we make sure that we're growing in a healthy manner and we're having real conversations and we're really pushing each other to where it's not just a family, but we're a high performance family as well, because you can't just be a family. I mean, you have to have some real progression as well. And so Reggie's been such a huge impact already on Roofle, even in our
Dude, I just believe we're better together. Yeah. Why would we, you know, and I'm old and I know that, but in my formative years growing up, if there was decisions to be made, the last thing I was even taught was to try to do that by yourself. Now you have to own it, but I always brought wisdom into my camp. I always brought people with experience into my camp. I wanted people who saw things differently into my camp because I wanted, when I finally made a decision, to have the right information to make what decision was best for me. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that by yourself. And I'm telling anybody that's listening to this today, get out of your silo. I mean, get out of your isolation and separateness and realize that collaboration can create things alone you can't. And so relationships like Mike and Eric and some other guys it's like they're important to me because it keeps me in a place of constantly thinking beyond myself. Mm-hmm. Ty, we're in a world where the Blessed Trinity has been redefined as me, myself, and I. Like we don't, you know, we're only after what's good for us, and the gains it can create to us. And so this is kind of getting out of our comfort zones. Yeah. But it's meaningful.
Yeah. So, Mike, when you were talking about bringing Reggie in and kind of getting the entire team rowing in that same cultural direction, the first thing that popped in my head is, so what you know, it's one thing to get the team in the personal development and opening up and sharing some stuff. And I really like what you're talking about. But what went through my mind is what impact has that had on your customers?
Oh, yeah. Well, once they become a well-oiled machine internally, mm-hmm. it shows externally, and that's where we say, you know, as you're growing and we're growing together, you can't fake stuff, right? I mean, and you can pretend like you're faking it, you can pretend like you're all put together, and people can see it a mile away, mm-hmm. and that really happens inside of a company as well, and we've gotten to the point where we continue to add numbers to our company, for example, and we don't have to advertise very far. We're not throwing it out in Indeed or some of these just nameless, faceless. We have people coming to us wanting to be joined this because we have something that they see. It's not something that we're like, you can't sell yourself in that manner. People see it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, and I had I think I told you this story. I had a mentor of mine many years ago talk to me about, you know, what we should do is we should go down to the border and ask those border guards, what are they telling these people that make them want to come into the United States so bad? And we all looked at him because it was done in a large group. We're all like, okay, that might be one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard. But then I met with him a couple of days later. I said, okay, you said this. Nobody asked you, nobody said anything, and the conversation died. But what did you mean by that? He said, well, think about it. What are those border guards saying that makes immigrants want to come to the United States so bad? Well, what is it? It's nothing. They're not. People see hope. They see liberty. They see opportunity. They see all of these things inside me that makes them want to be a part of it. Isn't that what we're trying to accomplish inside of our companies? And you can't fake that. I can't package this into a sales pitch to say, come work for Roofle. Mm-hmm. It's just who we are and the people we bring together. And then the way that we interact with each other, it comes out of us at that point. We don't have to make it into a sales pitch. People want to grow and be a part of it. And that's exactly what I appreciate about Reggie specifically and what he brought to our team is really a vocabulary and a context to have those conversations, to be able to recognize, again, we're talking about culture and people, you are the culture. You're not, because I had a couple of instances with people that were in this group and going, well, I needed to confront them on this ball was being dropped, but I didn't want to disrupt the culture. But what he held is, you're not disrupting the culture. The only way you disrupt the culture is if you stop being yourself. We hired you as the culture. You are the culture. You can't disrupt it unless you stop being yourself. And then, you know, again, there's all this change. You're probably hearing all these things that we talked about, but like the more you push it off, the harder that collision becomes. Because if I'm not going to say anything this time, and then I'm not going to say anything the next time. Now you've got two strikes. Now you're third. At what point are you going to be a collide? Now you're really hurting. and you're hurting the whole thing. So we're all about having hard conversations, but doing it in such a way that you become predictable and you become trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I always look for conflict because it seems to be drawn to me. Like I enjoy sensing, feeling, and knowing that there's rub, like where people just, and it's our business, like everybody, it's really hard to find true unity inside of companies. It's hard to find inside of marriages. It's hard to find it in all relationships. And so I love being it because I know when you unlock people from the conflict that's holding them back from working with someone, it unlocks potential that is immeasurable, because that whole process of us together creating something, and it starts with being willing to face the conflicts, challenges, and difficulties that we've avoided forever. And let me tell you something, unity sells. Like when everybody is pathing, and I mean, like we've converged. I might be the sales guy, I might be the production guy, I might be the back office, I might be the owner, but there's this sense of unity that where we go like, this is common ground. And when we gain, we do it together. Dude, it revolutionizes places.
I 100% agree. It's not a sales pitch.
No.
It's something that's you see. It's more so, I guess, shown. We're very picky on who comes into our organization, and it's a process, and it takes a minute because we just don't want anybody to come into the culture, right? And we're in the process of hiring right now, and the one thing that I said was, it's like I don't necessarily care about their skills. Like obviously we need them to be sharp and be computer literate and things of that nature, right? But like the most important piece to this is will they fit the culture? Because one or two people can just throw off an entire culture. It's almost like cancer, and then it just starts to spread. And it takes time to build out a team, a culture. And like you said, if we're all rowing in the same direction and there's a goal, right? And that's where good leadership comes into place too, like the mission, the vision, and the goal. And if that's set and everybody's rowing in the same direction, and then they feel empowered.
Yeah.
They realize that their job is so important and they're so good at their job that Reggie has a job today. You know what I mean? So if you can get that unison, like where everyone's working in unison for the greater of the good, for the greater of the company, no matter how uncomfortable it is, right? And not nitpick about like how many hours they worked, they were late, they called, like all this stuff. Like that's not even a part of our culture. We don't even care. Like when people start, like, what time do we start? It's like, you'll see what time everybody starts. And it's like, next thing you know, it's like they come in at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and they realize everybody's already been there for 2 hours. It's like, oh, I guess it's 6:30. Not everybody, but there's a hand. It depends on what department it is and stuff like that. If it's production, the guys start earlier, and if it's a office or administrative help, like that might be a little later in the morning and stuff like that. But it's so hard to, and Vic will probably even tell you too, it was this things that we were accomplishing is what he wanted to be a part of. Like there was something missing in his life, but he saw it over there. Like that's the void I've been looking for in my life. It's not even about the money.
Yeah.
It really isn't about the money. It's about them feeling a part of something and accomplishing.
They belong.
Yeah, something that has never been done before.
That's it.
Right. And that's what we're really trying to build out, like something, whether it's the podcast or we have a landscaping business, the rental, like everything that we're doing is monumental. And that's, even if it is or it isn't, we make it feel like this is monumental.
Yeah.
And like, this is what if we do this, we can do that. And if we get this, we get that. And it's like, shit, you're not done yet. You're fucking me up, and then it's going to fuck everything else up. So fucking come on. So like the whole accountability that you touched on a little bit without saying accountability. And that's really, and if you're at a high performing level, like there's no time for drama. I mean, there is, don't get me wrong. Everybody seems to make time for drama.
Well, I always think of it. I mean, if there's no drama, I have to stir it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, come on. When's the last time we've seen some drama and stirred up? But every once in a while, and I think we've all been part of that. We've tasted that, and the synergy that comes. And I know we kind of get that and start, using it almost as taking it for granted. But once you taste what it's like to feel what synergy is, you're accomplishing way more together than you ever could have by yourselves, individually. And without turning into a cliche, if you've experienced it, there's no cliche there. Like, you can see where your performance comes when you're part of a healthy team.
Absolutely. And the things that you can accomplish together as a team. And I used to think that no one could do it as good as me and all that stuff, that early on entrepreneur journey stuff. But when I started to surround myself around other high performing people that were actually doing the job better and on time and building this out to become, I don't know, it's almost like a cult. Like Eric talks about, like, it almost becomes a cult. And it's like that becomes our brand. Right. And people actually want us to do work for them. And that's kind of what I was insinuating with the question I asked earlier. Like, the recruiting process that we go through, it's really not that hard. Like, I'm not saying like banging on our door to come work for us, but like, it doesn't take long for us to fill a position. And usually those that come work for us, the type of people they've been creating, the last few people have created their own positions that I didn't even knew existed. Like, oh shit, I didn't realize that we needed something, but you're really fucking good at that. Like, you know what I mean? But that's the kind of thing, because when we hire somebody, it's like, okay, like here's your description, but I'm also going to give you this other blank white sheet of paper here. Like, just stay within the playground here, but this is all you. Bring what you can bring to the table, and I want you to work on it. And if you see a gap or a hole or something that needs filled, I'm not saying to you, this is the way we've always done it. Not going to do that, because that's only gotten us so far. But what your skill set or an area of the company of, like, where you may see a big gap or where we need to move you over into this position. Chris Baker, okay, who has been on the podcast with us for a long time. That man has created, so his first two positions were like needed positions. He's been with us now for about 6 years. He's created 3 positions for himself within our organization. And again, that kind of goes back to the leadership of, like, dude, you go. And he's our costing manager now, right? I didn't know we needed like a costing manager, right? I didn't even know I needed a fucking fleet maintenance program either. But here we are. We got a guy that makes sure that the oil change is being done in trucks. But my point is when you can have that open, right, dialogue, that openness of, like, not that necessarily you can come and go as you please and pizza party stuff, because I think that's what you guys were kind of talking about too, that accountability part of it, because you can't have a pizza party or an ice cream party type of culture, because then people get taken advantage of. Things aren't getting taken care of when it needs to be taken care of. But if you can put KPIs in place and the accountability portion of it, and the standard is what the standard is. Those that come into our organization, I'm sure you can relate to this, either level up or they get pushed out.
Yeah. And I think of this more like I grew up playing sports my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized quickly that my role was a part of the piece, not the whole. And I realized that I was no more important in my role than the guy that was standing next to me. As everybody did what they were supposed to, collectively we won. And for some reason, we've lost a sense of that, to where, people, they're, all right, this is your job. So to hear you talk about, here's a white sheet, go do your thing. That's refreshing. And it gives people the opportunity to go beyond just what the task is, see a need, fix and create a path. And so I think that's a beautiful thing y'all are doing. And I think it matters greatly to the productivity of your people, right? Like when I fill in kind of an open checkbook, and I don't mean it the way it sounds, but to where I'm like, I see something, I feel something, I'm called to something, and now I'm in a place I can run with this something. Dude, you've created magic.
Yeah, for real.
It is.
It's something you can't, like, you I think you were trying to explain it earlier. Like, you can't sell it. You just have to see it. You have to experience to know what we're talking about when you actually enjoy working around the people that you work with. And not that there's not conflict, but I think we need to learn how to deal with that conflict so it doesn't, like, prolong. Do you want to talk a little more about?
Well, because nobody wants to go to the gym, right? Because it hurts and it takes effort and then I'm sore and all this kind of stuff. But like when everybody, and I wouldn't know what this is like because I don't work out and I haven't seen a gym in 15 years, but when you're done, you feel better, right? And that's really when we're talking about business and growing together it's telling you we need to get to the gym, we need to work out, we need to do this together because we are going to be stronger when as a result. So, and I know, I know your son is kind of following your footsteps a little bit. I know your son is following. I'm watching my son try to put together the game over here.
So he's following.
This is some of the greatest, greatest content I could possibly. I wish I could be recording this right now, but I'm so proud to have my son here and starting to dabble in the roofing industry, which is probably going to scare everybody because it's not like you need another Goldenstein in the roofing industry for sure. But
yeah, we do.
But at the end of the day, it's a reflection. Our business lives are a reflection of our home lives as well, and that's always something
100%.
we can always keep in the back of your minds that when people come to work in the morning, they're bringing the baggage of whatever is going on in their life, be personal and professional. And we need to be acknowledging that together as well. I mean, help me understand what's going on so that we can also help adjust to make sure that your needs are being filled as well, because that's reality as well.
And if we're not to a point of wrap, we need to probably get to it. But I'm going to say this: as a leader at home, as a leader in a work site, or wherever you're at, one of the best ways to inspire people to stick close is to really take time to understand how they think, how they feel, and how that's affecting their performance. And so what we tend to do is we see ebbs and flows, so to speak, in production of people. And if they hit this low spot, generally we're going like they're just not working hard enough. The fact of the matter is, you don't want them working harder if what they're producing is not what you own anyway. And I think we've just overlooked the impact of the way people think and the way they feel, because it affects the way they behave. And so I think good teams provide ample room and space for people to be allowed to be heard and seen. And that's why you keep people, is because you're giving them the opportunity past just a task. And when you do that, it's throwing fuel on the fire, bro. And I think y'all are doing a great job, and that people can learn from you from that.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish I could say I did it. You know what I mean? I don't know if there was some kind of divine intervention or just my experiences over the years of, being treated maybe poorly or unfairly or unjust, but identifying that, usually there's not work related issues. It's usually a home related issue that they bring to work, and being able to identify that and understand that and create a culture of if somebody is struggling, because we spend more time with the people that we work with than we do with our families most of the time or some of the time. So we can see if somebody is off. And when you have a team that will rally around, whether they're pregnant or there's something going on with their children or whatever, but if you can get people and take that into consideration, and that trickles down from the top, right, is being empathetic. Right. Being empathetic and sensitive to people's needs and wants and goals and ambitions, and creating I heard Vic say something. I'm going to bust him out. Heard him say something yesterday. And I say this all the time, and I got it from Ed Milet, is creating a vision big enough for everyone else's vision, dream to fit in, right? And I took it to another level. Like, my legacy has to be big enough for Vic's legacy to fit in. And he said something yesterday to somebody, and I don't know if you heard me say it, but he said like this was his vision. It sounded like me standing in the center of this thing, but Vic said, "This is my vision," and the team just put it together.
That's good.
And it's like, fuck, this shit's working.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to curse like that, but it was like, and I'm okay with that. Yes, take the credit. Yes. You know what I mean? Please. But to hear him feel that, because he didn't take the credit either. He threw back. Everybody was like, "Vic, you're doing such a great job." And he was like, "Dude, it wasn't me. It was the team." And I'm not trying to keep making this about us or anything like that, but it's like, we have to change. And this is what the podcast is all about, is making the industry a better place than it was when we found it. Right. And that's what I want someone to get from this. Like, if I can do this, we can do this. If Reggie can come in and help Mike Goldenstein's company and Eric's helped me, and I do the call with Eric, but that's why I'm in, because I want my company. We want to build an organization and a culture that people want to come work for. We want to be an organization that other organizations want to be like.
For sure.
And that's setting the standard. Are we perfect? No. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Have I said stupid things? Unfortunately, yes. But I identify them, and I identify them quickly, and I have a team that will call me out, and they feel comfortable enough calling me out on my stuff. So so that's that open dialogue and stuff like that. But guys, I love you both. Just so you know that, Mike. We connected, I think, in Utah at Door to Door 2 years ago. For real, I think we knew each other before then, but I think we really were able to connect out there in Utah, where our stuff didn't actually show up at Door to Door Con.
Yeah. I still say that was Chris's fault, right? Are we still blaming him for that one?
Absolutely.
I appreciate so much what you just said, because I had never really thought of that as well, because my identity was so wrapped up. It always is. I wrapped up in what I do, what professionally it feels like, and feeling to be a part of a vision of Roofle that is, it's not just one person. You can't talk to Joe or Travis or Brad or Matthew individually and say, whose vision is this? Like, it is our vision. And they have put me in a place that I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly what I was going to do. I didn't, it's not like God gave me a vision of, okay, this is what this looks like, go. And yet I feel like Roofle is every bit as much of my vision as it is theirs. And yet we do have our core values. I haven't gone outside of it, which is kind of crazy, right? All the crazy, stupid stuff that I've done. It's a miracle. But it is quite amazing to have a vision that fits in the vision of everybody else's, and to have an organization to be a part of like that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's different.
Yeah.
Right? It's different. It's cool. It's fun. But thank you guys for coming on the show and spreading your knowledge and experience, strength, and hope with me, because I always get inspired from you, Reggie. You're I don't know, man, like a spiritual freaking giant, and I know you're not perfect. I'm not going to put you up on that pedestal, but I do
need a favor though.
Okay.
I need your autograph. So part of the crazy antics of Roofle is we've gotten our list of. Now, I did not do that one. I would have to. So you have a Facebook a post that you did where you're going. And so our marketing manager thought that it needs to have a pacifier in your mouth. So put a little bow and a pacifier. But that's your guru card. I would love to have it autographed. I need it for my collection. That's your.
Okay. Is that you telling me to shut the hell up or to keep me quiet?
No,
I'm just kidding. I love it. But I still haven't got the official invitation to GuruCon.
So GuruCon is happening in the month of October. We haven't put a date on it because
a year. It'll be in October 1 year.
Some year. It's at a Super 8 in Fargo. Because that's where most logical place to put GuruCon. The second place was going to be the world's largest truck stop in Wildcat, Iowa, which I thought it was going to be a really cool place. But then I researched it a little bit. It was a little bit out of my price range.
How do you stay employed?
I know, right?
I'm sitting here listening to you going like, is Travis lost his goods? Like, I don't understand this. Joe peddled you off to Travis. Now it's time for Travis to peel you out of this.
Are you hiring?
No.
I would absolutely come work for you.
I would too.
Could you imagine? I would absolutely be like,
you guys would probably end up killing each other, I'm sure. But what another fantastic episode. You guys keep doing what you're doing and inspiring me, because I know you're inspiring a lot of other people in the culture that you're building over at Roofle. And Reggie, you've had an impact. Both of you have had an impact on the industry for a long time, and I appreciate that. And I know it hasn't been easy over the years.
Well, thank you for the kind words.
And
I'm always when I was on your podcast not long ago, I don't remember who I told, maybe my wife. I'm like, I've been on most everybody's podcast but Ty's. And then all of a sudden, bam, there it is. So it was a highlight for me. And being here with you is always, it's great to see you, pal.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thank you for everything you're doing too.
You too. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Much.
Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Stay tuned. I don't know when we're going live or who we're going to go live with, but we will be going live again today at some point in time. Stay tuned. Awesome.